Hello everyone, this is Overmind, and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 replay cast. Today I have a bit of a treat for you. For those of you who are familiar with my other games that I have cast, you know that I cast a lot of games from the Bronze on up to the Platinum League and everything in between. However, today I have a game from the Master League. We have a game with a Master League player playing a Grand Master League player. And let's go ahead and hop right into it. Spawning up at the top right side of the map, our submitter for this game, our red zerg player from the Masters League, playing on a barcode account, it's going to be Chan Kim! And spawning on the bottom left side of the map from the Grandmaster League, in blue, we have our other zerg player, Barcode! For the purposes of clarity, as well as for my own sanity, I'm going to go ahead and refer to these players as red and blue during the course of this cast. I want to go ahead and note at this time that both players have gone ahead and went expansion before pool, and both their expansions and their spawning pools should be finishing up right quick. However, since this is a mirror matchup, the differences between the playstyles in our players are going to be the things that determine the winner and the loser of this game. And right now we have a pretty distinct difference. Our red player has gone ahead and gone extractor. He's mining with count them three, drones. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and get the speed upgrade going over here at his spawning pool. So that will be quite good if he decides to scout with zerglings, do hit and run attacks, or even go banelings later in the game. So it's exciting to see how he uses that. We see a bit of a blue zergling scout running on in. And I believe our blue zergling scout has spotted that speed upgrade is coming. We do have a couple of zerglings over here from our red player in our blue player's base. And he's going to get a good look around the base over here. Looks like he's going to go ahead and kill off a creep tumor, head around the ramp, just check about over here a bit, and then run on out of the base so that they don't die. Excellent. Over here at the front we have a spine crawler for our blue player. And up here at the front we have an Evo chamber for our red zerg player. And it looks like we have a roach warren going on down. Back at the front for our blue zerg player we have double Evo chambers and a roach warren as well. And it looks like our red zerg player is electing to expand. Over here at our blue zerg player's base, I actually expect either an expansion or, there it is, for the lair to be coming on up. Usually a player will choose to either make a lair or go ahead and expand around this time. This is pretty typical. And I believe we have a lair just starting out for our red player. I want to go ahead and note that here at the front we have this nice wall off. Actually, from both of our players we have a bit of a partial wall off here. And that's going to do a good deal of helpful stuff as far as keeping banelings and zerglings out of our main base. We do see a couple zerglings here at the front of our blue player's base who really can't get in because of that nice wall that was created there. We have roaches to chase them away, and likely, yes indeed, this is going to be an expansion from our blue player. So both players pretty even in a lot of respects. Both players getting their upgrades, both players making roaches, and both players having about the same number of expansions and teching up around the same way. So this game may or may not come down to micro. Yes. Our players are going to go ahead and spread creep via their overlords, which is something that I encourage all of those of you in the lower leagues to go ahead and do. And we have both players who have scouts in the form of overseers and overlords at their opponent's third, just to see what's going on over there. So little bits of harassment have gone on throughout the course of this game. However, at this point in time, we see in the production tab that both of our players are producing units. And often when you are a zerg player and you're producing units, you are planning on attacking sometime in the near future, or you anticipate that a attack is coming. So we'll see how that pans out exactly. We do have a lot of roaches over here. We have a lot of roaches over here, and I believe this is about to be our first engagement. A few blue roaches are pulled away from the main pack by our red zerg player. A couple do get taken out. You have to be very careful here because there is this narrow choke point. Our red zerg player does get a very nice concave. A few transfuses are going down from the queens for our blue zerg player, since he does have them right there. He is on his home turf. And our blue zerg player backs up a little bit, trying to force our red zerg player into that little tiny choke point. However, he's not having any of it. And the concave continues. However, he is pulling the choke point and he moves on back. And this looks like it's going to be the end of our first conflict. Our red player is retreating back across the map at this time. And our blue player is here ready to defend his base. I do want to note that attacks are very easy to spot because of the very good overlord positioning around the map. It is very simple to see a large number of roaches heading out across the map with your overlords all around like this. We do have a fourth base coming down for our red player. This is a very good base to have since it is a gold expansion, and you can get a lot of minerals from the gold expansion. Looks like our blue player is electing to take that expansion as well at this time. We have Burrow being researched by both of our players, our blue player getting it just a bit faster. We have upgrades being researched. Again, our blue player is just slightly ahead there. Though again, I do not believe that he has speed. We have a bit of poking around being done by our red player. Our blue player is forced to sort of spread out his forces just to make sure that since these two ramps at the entrance to his natural and the entrance to his fourth are so close together, that there aren't any errant sort of zerg units that can run in while he's dealing with zerg units at the other ramp. We have a spreading out on this side as well for our red player. He's going to make sure that nothing sneaks on into his base. Also, we have the infestation pit coming up for both players, and it looks like our blue player is just about to finish up a baneling nest. Now, I do want to go ahead and note that both of these players are maxed, and very, very seldom do you see players getting tech trees that they aren't going to use. So I do fully expect to see banelings at some point in this game. And indeed, we do see 38 of them being produced right now by our blue player, which is a very scary number. It's actually quite good that we have a decent spread going on for our roaches here at the front, so that if any attack does happen, these banelings won't take out the entire army all at once. So very good things that you would expect from a Grandmaster and a Master League player. Looks like these units are continuing to spread out. Our red player does know that this is going on. There are overlords here to spot all of it. Indeed, here's the engagement. We have banelings running on in through the line. We have some kiting going on. We have some spreading out going on. Banelings are connecting, however, they aren't getting any major hits as far as I can see. However, there are a lot of roaches remaining for our blue player. Our red player forced to dodge around to avoid those banelings, and our red player is being killed off, at least as far as this base is concerned. I think he'll be able to hold as these roaches move on into his natural. Looks like he has additional roaches coming in as reinforcements. Our red player trying to get a good surround, and indeed he does. He has some roaches even behind. As our red player advances forward, our blue player retreats and heads back on out here. He does do a burrow, which will heal his roaches. However, if you get caught in the middle of the map with your roaches burrow, that is very, very bad, as you might imagine. This base is going to re-establish itself. The only real good thing about this base being lost is that there weren't really too many drones mining over there at the time, so it's not like he lost much in the way of drones. And here we have additional jockeying for position. We have a bunch of blue player roaches fighting a bunch of red player roaches. We have a pretty equal looking concave. It looks like we're getting a bit of a surround on this side from our red player. However, there are a lot of roaches here from our blue player. And our blue player is forced to back off, taking a few pot shots from our red player's army as he moves back out across the map. Now, I want to take this time and go ahead and look at the units lost. It's actually virtually identical. They're separated only by a few hundred minerals. We have this base coming right back on up for our red player. There we are. We have our blue player very saturated at this base over here. And we have both players very close to maxed once again. Here we have our blue player moving around the map, checking at the watchtower, which is quite a good thing to do. We have our red player making sure that this base stays safe. He definitely wants this base up and running as soon as possible. He has drones on the way to this base at this very moment. Here we have the blue player moving up the ramp near the natural. We have our red player moving to intercept. It's really hard to tell who the concave is better for. I think our blue player is gaining ground, especially at this end. We do have many roaches dying all over the place. I'm going to go ahead and look at this, you guys. I know there's a fight going on. The army supply is slightly smaller for our red player. This line does extend all the way almost to our opponent's wall off at his natural. Additional roaches are being produced by both players. However, they will be here to reinforce much sooner for our red player because this is his home turf, and he is able to repel this attack, this very frightening, might I add, attack. Our red player does move across the map. He is able to kill several roaches just via the move command. So that is going to be something that happens indeed even in the Master and Grandmaster League level. However, several roaches are picked off by the blue player of our red player. And I think the concave is better here for our blue player. Our red player jockeying to make sure that he secures this end of the concave over here on the left. Over on the right, his forces are thinning out. We have a number of just changeling zerglings over here just for funsies, because that is what you do at this stage in the game. We have additional roaches being produced, however both players are looking quite thin in the actual number of roaches they have on the field. We do have another expansion over here for our blue player, however it is not mining at the moment. And we have just handfuls of roaches fighting each other at this point. This is quite a close game. In all actuality, both players have very few minerals. Both players producing very few units. Both players very, very close in supply. In fact, let's look at the army and worker supply. Our blue player is a bit ahead in our army supply. Our red player is very close to the same number of workers as our blue player. Looks like we do have some killing off of changelings over here at the front of the base for our red player. We have a few blue roaches moving on in. Our red player splits up, not going to overreact to this attack at all. Blue players moving on up with a handful of roaches. Both players again making 10 roaches at a time. And our blue player is forced back off. Attacks being staved off. As our blue player retreats, he is going to lose a few roaches there. And I would say that that's not a big deal. However, this has been a very close game throughout the entirety. We do see a few burrowed roaches moving on along throughout the ground. And it looks like he's going to split those up a bit and pop them on up. Our blue player not going to be outsmarted by anything like burrowed roaches, especially with this nice overseer here. And our red player moves back across the map to his own base. There's not yet an expansion over here. We do have several changelings just to keep an eye on that base. It looks like I did just miss. This is about to be thrown down. Our blue player will see that pretty much immediately. However, there's not too much he can do about it. Our red player does know about this base over here. I've seen him fly an overseer here a moment ago, so he definitely knows about it. This base is up and mining though, which is going to be quite good for our blue player. Drones being transferred over to the high yield. We have a little bit of moving about on the map for our red player. He's going to go ahead and make a run up the ramp over here, as well as have a small contingent force over near his opponent's natural, doing some damage, doing a little bit of burrowing. We have a fight going on over here at two fronts, both on the ramp and over here, all the way across to his opponent's fourth. We have him having to retreat just a bit. Banelings coming in, and our red player doing a good job not letting his whole army get cleaned up. However, he did take heavy losses by being attacked from both sides. He does continue to do a bit of damage here at his opponent's natural and even in his main. However, there is a large blue army moving on in to his own main. Additional roaches are being produced, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. The roach warren does fall for our red player. This could be the end of the match. However, I have seen worse things recovered from. We do see a lot of death going down here. We see a lot of roaches dying. Our blue player does appear to have a few more roaches available to him. I think this might be the game, you guys. Oh. And there's the GG. Oh my goodness. Ha. Alright, so this is the reason that I like those mirror matchups so much, because you can see players do very similar things. In this case, it was both players go mass roach, and we see just a difference in skill or a difference in decision making, really determining who our winner and who our loser are. I want to go ahead and thank both of our players today for being on the show. I want to thank our red player for submitting this game to Cast It. Thank you so much. You're the people who make Cast It work, all of our submitters, so thank you. For those of you who would like to submit a game directly to me and see it cast on my channel, go ahead and send it to noobcrafted@gmail.com. That's noobcrafted@gmail.com. If you want to see me cast more games, go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and like, and go ahead and follow me on Twitter, and all of that will help you be entertained by me more often. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the ladder.